What is up? A recap from today of a trade I didn't take, but I should have taken, and me running through exactly what I did wrong, where I could have gone in earlier on the trade, and just things to note. So let's fucking go into it. Let me get rid of my camera and let's get into this thing. So as you can see, we're on the daily. The market's, like I said, down here at this point. Market's like right here on market open, right? We're going to be back testing. We had a 1 hour, a 1 day fair value gap, a day fair value gap, daily fair value gap. Hell, we had a 4 hour up here or some shit. We have these highs up here. And as you can tell, we are pushing for all-time highs. One thing I note from today is, and this is something for me to take note on in the future, when we are getting near all-time highs, why the fuck would you be really looking for shorts? Like, you really want a continuation model, and that's what we ended up getting today. Ideally, sometimes you could be a hero and get shorts, but it's like you should be looking for longs because market isn't going to want to fucking get near all time highs and just not sweep it up. Get all the way up to that point just to not sweep it. It's going to want to sweep those all time highs out, make new all time highs, and then immediately get a move down and consolidate for a bit. As you can see, we had highs right here. We get up to that point, made new highs up here, left these ones alone, trended down. This is a daily. We get up to that point, we sweep out these highs again. This is from, like, let's say once we went back down from January 25th all the way to February 25th. Immediately sweep back down and we fucking push lower and lower. Now we're coming back up to this point. And yeah, we swept too. Like, after that move down, we took out all these lows on the daily. Now we're trending higher. There's lows in between here as well. Well, like I said, on ES, we had the daily fair value gap, 4 hour fair value gap, and we had 15-minute, 30-minute fair value gaps in between here as well, that we'll pay attention to in a minute, in a little bit. We had highs up here. NQ has no fair value gap on the daily, but it does have these 30-minute fair value gaps and I believe a 4 hour fair value gap. But we have highs up here. So initially I'm going in the market, I'm thinking either I'm going to be getting a reversal and get a short, like a small short trade, like 1 to 2, 1 to 3 RR. But we ended up looking for something else. So that's just to mark up all this. I got a new indicator, but I'm not really going to use it on the charts because I don't like it, but it's just to tell me where the time frame started. So London session starts at like 2 and then ends up around here. And we have New York from yesterday, 8:30, closes at like 10:30. Like slight close, it's not as volatile, and then it real closes like up to here. And we start trading. Moving on, moving on, moving on. Ideally though, let's just go on to NQ because this is where I was looking for entries in the beginning. So right off the jump, we're gonna note this. So lately with shitty price action, we haven't been getting 4 hour or 1 hour highs or lows getting swept. So these lows up here are highs all the way up here. So we've been getting like 15 to 30-minute liquidity sweeps, which is something to note. It's not a strong confluence, so you'd like more confluences out of there. Either way, we had market open. We left in this 5-minute fair value gap that we are wanting to inverse over time. What do we end up doing? We sweep out this 15-minute low. What does market then do? And then market comes down all the way into this fair value gap as well. I believe, yeah, it comes all the way down into this fair value gap on the 15-minute chart and rejects out of it. Holy shit. But what to note off the bat? 15-minute liquidity sweep. What does price end up doing after that we get that sweep? Ooh, look at that shit. Oh. What did we end up getting? We had another fair value gap, which we tapped into and immediately got rejection out of it. What did we end up getting? We had a 5-minute inversion. So for me right now, the model, what I'm seeing is, let me pause this. The model, what I'm seeing currently, is the 15-minute liquidity sweep, which is showing us, opening our minds to reversal. We end up getting a 5-minute inverse, which is confirming, our bearish order flow is getting disrespected. We are now in bullish order flow, but we need a continuation of that, which we end up getting a 5-minute fair value gap, which rejects, taps into, retraces back into, shows rejection out of that, which I believe is where TJR got in right there, or TJR got in around here. I believe it was up here. But immediately after that, we had a 5-minute fair value gap here, a 5-minute fair value gap here. So as of right now, I've had 3 confluences. And as you can see on ES, we're tapped into the daily now. We tapped in, I'm on ES. ES, we tapped into the daily fair value gap. NQ, like I said, 5-minute inverse, retraced back down into here. But you're going to see what we end up doing then after that. Turn off these fucking sessions, bro. After that, what do we have another one of? Let me try to get the good mindset in this. We have a 5-minute inverse right here, which is something to note. Oh, no way this was a trade. No way this gave me the fucking setup. Now I'm looking at this, I could have taken this on NQ. And just let's look at how this played out. Oh, and it swept. If I would have entered on the 5-minute inverse, I'm just looking on NQ, this is not where I took the play. 5-minute inverse stops right below the fair value gap. Target highs 1 to 4 RR. That's the strat, and I could have gotten in there at 1050. But what I was looking at was ES, because ES tapped into that daily, and it's just something I was paying attention to. So another thing, like I said, 5-minute, we had that 5-minute inverse fair value gap. It inversed. We come back down, we make a bullish fair value gap. Tap into it, retrace into it. We get rejection out of that. So let's ignore this inverse. We had a 15-minute liquidity sweep on NQ. Wait, is that an SMT? SMT ski? I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Holy fuck. Either way, retrace back into this 5-minute fair value gap, reject out of it. We create more 5-minute fair value gaps in here. Where I should have entered was right here. Market comes back down, so we got a 5-minute inverse right here, and I'm thinking either we're going to inverse, we're going to come into this fair value gap to then fill in this one and then hopefully reject higher. And that would have been 4 confluences for me. But I was waiting on my 5th confluence, which would have been this inverse fair value gap, which I didn't take because we didn't inverse till 11. So my trading plan is 8:30 to 11 o'clock. And usually for this, I was talking to my buddies, it's like, well, if you were waiting all day and you got that many confluences, even if it's 11 o'clock, take the trade. So ideally, where I could have gone in, where I know TJR got in, I think, TJR got in, I think, right down here, actually, on ES, stops at the low, or, I'm trying to recall where TJR got in. Either way, where I ended up was supposed to get in on this trade was here. This is where I marked this up. I would have gotten in right on the inverse, put the stops right to this low, and what I was going to target was this top of the daily fair value gap, because at this point, like I said, if we're looking at the daily chart, when we're near all-time highs, we're going to want to get pretty close to sweeping them out. So I think we maybe don't even sweep these out, but we sweep out these highs up here, or at least this high, and then trend lower. But wanted to fill in this one day fair value gap. The only thing about this is we haven't filled it yet. We're sitting inside of it now with market being closed. But I'm assuming tomorrow we come out of this, and I could have held this trade. Because as you can tell, how this trade ended up playing out, which I'll show you in a second here. Yeah, so cooked. Even if that played out to that, it'd be a 1 to 7. I think it almost will be a 1 to 8, actually. I don't know if price comes up back to that point. It does not. But it's been sitting around this range right now. So either way, I would have played it out and targeted fair value gaps inside of here from NQ. And yeah, 1 to 7, 1 to 9 if it fills. Holy fuck. It says 1 to 11, but it was a 1 to 9 RR because my stops were below the fair value gap. But, like I said, I did not take that trade. So hindsight, just something for me to know. If I have 4 to 5 confluences and it's 10:30 to 11 o'clock, and it's still showing very bullish or bearish order flow, and I get an entry, take it. If it's at 11 o'clock even, right at 11. 11:01, 11:02, 11:03, don't take that shit. But if it's right at 11, take it. Fuck it, de-risk if I need to because it's later in the day, so there's not much volatility in the market. Another thing to note is when we're at all-time highs, or getting near all-time highs, like I said we were, because like I said, if we look on the 5-minute, we haven't been to that point in so long, bro. We haven't been up to these highs up here in so long. So I was a fucking bitch setting up my fair value gaps and all that shit, draws on liquidity. But so yeah, that's just another thing to note. Don't be looking for shorts when we're at all time highs. It can be tricky, but usually markets when it's getting near those is going to want to sweep them out. But ideally, what I want to note as well is, so like I said, we had a 15-minute liquidity sweep. We had a 5-minute inverse fair value gap, which was right around here. We had a 5-minute retrace and showed bullish rejection out of that. Not only did we trend higher, but we got a 5-minute retrace again to show bullish rejection out of that. And one thing my buddy Josh taught me is when a candle like this, when you're looking for an entry off of a retrace, when a candle like this, let's say we have 3 or 4 confluences already. When a candle retraces into a fair value gap, let's say it's a bullish fair value gap and we're looking for continuation out of that to continue bullish order flow. If it shows a bullish ass rejection like this, huge buy opportunity. Fucking huge buy opportunity. And so what I should have done was fucking entered in as soon as I saw that, put the stops to this low. So kind of a big stop, maybe de-risk on the setup because the stop is pretty big, and then targeted the top of this for value gap. And if I'm assuming it's going to reach that, but that's a 1 to 5 RR, which is really fucking good. So, and in the same example, if we were looking for bearish order flow and we had a bearish for value gap and we traced into it, so market's coming down and then it comes back up and retrace into a bearish for value gap and shows rejection out of it like that, like fucking big black candle down, and we already have 3 to 4 confluences, that's fucking a very strong selling confluence or buying confluence as a continuation. So that's something that matters is the candles and how they look. And one more thing to note is one thing I was worried about was with this 5-minute fair value gap, we consolidated in it a bunch. That does not mean that the fair value gap is shitty. As you can tell, we inverse it at that one point and trended nothing but higher. So it does not mean the fair value gap is shitty whatsoever. You're just waiting for an inverse. It's just price being consolidated in there. It doesn't mean anything. But ideally, when you want to get a fill, you want strong rejection out of it. You don't want price to return back to a point. So ideally, with this, we didn't want to get this bullish rejection out of it and then come back down and fill it again, right? We just wanted it to tap into it, respect it, reject out of that, showing strong bullish orders in the market. And that's what we ended up getting. And if I would have entered there, like I said, you just look on that. Let's go on the 1-minute chart. Just exit out of the market replay. Look how fucking big this trade is. All right, let's say it's a 1 to 9, so my stop's a little lower. 1 to 10, we'll just say. It was a 1 to 9 RR. Even if it gets to that point, at this point it's like a 1, it would be a 1 to 8 ideally. Insane move. Absolutely ridiculous. And I think TJR, like I said, got in on, it was ES. I think it was right off this rejection of this fair value gap on the 5-minute. So if we go to that actually, because I like this, I'm trying to remember exactly where he got in. Yeah, TJR got in. We tap into this. We show a bullish rejection out of that. We enter in. Stops at the fair value gap. TJR's trade, bro, is actually insane today. And he left runners, obviously. He wasn't a full position, but over 1 to 10 RR is what TJR got. Which shows there's fucking levels to this game, bro. If that was my entry, this would have been his. And we could have targeted all the way out to here. Insane. Either way, this is still a really good entry. It's just something to note. But, like I said, ideally, what did I see in the market? Liquidity sweep on the 15-minute time frame. Sell side liquidity got swept on the 15-minute time frame. And then we ended up getting a 5-minute inverse fair value gap confirming that we are now bullish. All right, then we're getting continuation on the 5-minute retrace, which is showing continuation of bullish order flow. And then we get another retrace, which is showing even stronger bullish continuation. Not only that, but it had that big ass rejection out of that, which is very strong bullish continuation. And then we ended up getting a 5-minute inverse, which is what you would get for your final confirmation confluence. So either way, I think this setup, if it wasn't so late in the day, is an A+ setup. Noticing it was at all-time highs, we have 4 to 5 confluences that are all higher time frame confluences for entry. Usually for me, it's like 1 hour, 4 hour liquidity sweep, a 5 minute confirmation, so a 5 minute inverse fair value gap, a 5 minute continuation off a fair value gap or an order block, and then a 1 minute or 2 minute confirmation. Like that's four confluences, and then maybe something else added in there, equilibrium as well. That's another confluence. That's fucking crazy. Like this is such a good setup that I did not take, and that would have risk $500 on this trade. I mean, it's basically $5 grand. If I risk even $50 in this trade, I mean it's good profit either way, no matter what. It's just about being consistent with it, and this is something for me to know because I've never traded all-time highs before. I'm still new to trading, but just something for in the future, right? I'm trying to think. It's late as fuck, and I'm tired. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to hit on. Um, Actually, my buddy sent me a voice memo. I want to listen to that shit, just for me to. All right, I'm gonna turn this up just in case maybe I can take notes on this.
Okay. I guess let me try to answer your questions. Yes, I think over analyzing, I would have taken it on the first fair value rejection, especially with how strong it wicked out. Second, your other opposing fair value gap. You're not consolidation in fair value doesn't really necessarily matter because you're looking for opposing orders to get filled, which isn't happening. So even if it's consolidating, that's fine. Because you don't have the overall arcing idea of opposing orders getting filled. So, I mean, even if you waited for that, that's just another confluence. So it's not necessarily a bad place to actually enter because you have multiple confluences then that are working in your favor. I don't necessarily think you're over analyzing. I just think you're probably putting too much weight to certain things that occur within the market, which is making you like hesitant to pull a trigger.
That's something my buddy sent me. He's profitable as fuck. And I love listening to his advice because it's helped me get to the point where I can even, maybe I didn't take this trade, but mark out trades like this. And I've had bigger trades than this. I've hit 1 to 12s, 1 to 13s. Consistently, no, I don't hit those often. My average RR is a 1 to 3 RR with a 50% win rate, which is profitable, but it's nothing insane. I want to get that. Once I get to the PA account, I want to get that to a 70% win rate with a 1 to 3 RR. That would be pretty fucking gnarly. But yeah, it's just adding on to that. So when we have consolidation like this in fair value gaps, in this fair value gap, let's say we get this in the future, it's something to know that it's like, all right, we already have so many other bullish confluences that it shouldn't matter how much consolidation we get in this. We're waiting for this to inverse. We're waiting to get this confirmation, and that's it. That's all you'll need. And I get it. And I could have entered there. And like I said, I seriously think going into tomorrow, I believe I'll be trading tomorrow or just looking at the market tomorrow. We have core PCE at 7:30. Only thing we have that after market open is revised EOM consumer sentiment, which is an orange folder. I don't think that's bad. Hopefully, actually, we can catch something pretty solid tomorrow. I'm not looking to take a trade, but I'm just definitely excited to see what the market does. But yeah, I think we end up, if we go to the daily, ideally, I think we inverse this daily fair value gap to go tap into potentially this 4-hour fair value gap we have up here. And then do we have any other 4-hour fair value gaps up here? No, we just have the highs. So I think we tap into this to either go fill in this or reject out of it. This 4-hour fair value gap, we come up, inverse this daily, get rid of it, and then we got the 4-hour to worry about. And then we could be looking for shorts out of this, or it comes up, inverses this tomorrow, and we play inside the 4-hour fair value gap for most likely probably longs, and then goes and target 4-hour highs. Ideally is the goal. So tomorrow might actually give a pretty quality setup. Hopefully market comes out early, market open, and it's short, and then at 9 a.m. hopefully we get some pretty good news, nothing that fucks the market up, and we can be looking for, let's just say, sweep some 1-hour liquidity, 4-hour liquidity, 15-minute or 30-minute sell side liquidity, and then we get maybe an inverse fair value gap on the 5-minute, bullish inverse fair value gap, and then bullish continuation confluence, whether that's order block or fair value gap. Maybe maybe we're in equilibrium, and we fucking target 15-minute, 30-minute highs, and then maybe 1-hour, 4-hour highs if it's a winning trade. But yeah, that's really it. I'm tired as fuck, so I feel like this is really, really a shitty trade recap. But it will get better. It will get better when I can fucking start doing them after I take the trade and not fucking 9:30, 10:30 p.m. at night. But ideally, yeah, that's really it. Like I said, I did not take this trade, which is perfectly okay. I'm a little salty about it. It was just something to know, right? And I think even here, I wonder if we ended up getting. Oh, I never tapped back into that. Ooh, maybe my setup would be a little bit different on this. Yeah, my setup would be a little bit different on NQ. Well, trade was on ES. I feel like it was a pretty solid trade recap. I mean, I understand it, and this is for me. But if you're new to this shit, you're probably like, what the fuck is he saying? This guy doesn't know what he's doing. I understand it because I know what my strategy is. Smart money concepts. But yeah, that's really it. Ideally, tomorrow we go on to the 1 hour, like I said, and we got a high right here, a low right here. Hopefully we start pushing higher, and by the time I wake up in the morning, we've already inverses for value gap, the daily, and then we come back down. We maybe sweep out lows here or lows up here, or we come in and fill in an imbalance down here in the 1 hour, 4 hour, and then we end up using that for continuation to go into this 4 hour fair value gap, right? Which would be pretty fucking ideal. Playing this tomorrow, target highs. I might even hold a trade overnight or some shit. I doubt I do that up high. Just look for at least a 1 to 3, 1 to 4 RR. But yeah, that's really it. So one last time that I'm getting off. One last time, because I know I got a buddy who's going to be watching this. And I want to make sure he understands. What did we see on the market after market open? We had a 15-minute liquidity sweep on NQ. Not only did we have that, it ended up inversing a fair value gap and coming back down and filling in that fair value gap. So on ES, what we had was that, I hope I said 5-minute, not 15-minute. Like an idiot. We had a 15-minute sell side liquidity sweep on NQ. We had all those confluences showing up, and then we also ended up getting this 5-minute inverse fair value gap on this candle, which then created this 5-minute fair value gap, and we rejected and retraced back into it, showed bullish rejection out of that. So that's 3 confluences, 2 confluences other than the liquidity sweep. We obviously need a liquidity sweep before we take a trade. So let's just say that's 2 confluences. Then we get this fill, that's 3 confluences. You can count 4 for the liquidity sweep. I could have entered in there, and I was waiting for either 4 confluences or 5 if you count the liquidity sweep on this inverse. Ideally, you could have taken a trade on this because it's showing such bullish. It's showing such bullish rejection out of it that it's like, okay, this is obviously going to be bullish. And on top of that, you don't just take that alone. If let's say that's your only confluence you have, you don't enter off of that. We already have 2 other confirmation. We already have 1 confirmation and 1 continuation confluence. To add on another continuation confluence and then another confirmation confluence, this trade was like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you take it? And now I'm like fucking biting my tongue. But yeah, that's literally it. This trade would have played out. I mean, like I said, I'm assuming it goes all the way up and it hits for a 1 to 9, which would have been fucking insane. So that's on me. That sucks. But tomorrow's a new day. Another day to learn, another day to get a rep in the market. I'm probably going to get off after this video and just a back test for like 20 minutes and then go to fuck to bed. But that's really it for today. Enjoy the video. It's getting posted on YouTube. Peace.